going to be spoken of today, okay? Today, you're here of Tennessee corruption in the system that we have to live our daily lives in. Well, let me tell you, I am the poster child of political corruption in the state of Tennessee. They went so far that we know that they created a fake crime. He needs to put it on. State agency, a police department, and a judge. And a judge co-op. Rewrite the law in the book. Even there was an election when I was running for regional court judge in Williamson County. And why was I running for that position? Because I knew locking up children. I knew that children had been sexually assaulted in the juvenile detention center. I knew that they were putting children on psychotropic medication and removing them from their parents and families. I have been fighting the system on my feet since 2008. We need you. The retaliation started soon after. And why? Because I went to the Tennessee General Assembly. And you know what I did first? I educated the Tennessee General Assembly on Article 6 of the Tennessee Constitution. We have one of the best constitutions in the country if we stop messing with it. And the Tennessee Constitution provides in Article 6, you don't have to impeach a judge. The legislature has the power to remove a judge. And all it takes for that removal is a petition, a joint session that is called, and a 10-day notice to a judge, and a vote. They don't have to do an impeachment trial. I went down and I spoke to legislators, and they were like, oh, impeachment is so hard. The last time we had a judicial impeachment in the state of Tennessee was 1954. 1954. The last time we had a removal was 1994. And you know what that removal was about? That removal was about a judge in West Tennessee who was trading custody decisions for sex. And he finally, after years, got caught and got busted. And it was only then that our General Assembly would do a removal. We can no longer be silent. I have tried. I was active in 2010. We had a joint session with Senator May Weaver, Senator Mike Bell, about judicial accountability. And all they did was put a new name on it. They didn't change anything. This cannot change unless your voices rise. You must rise. You must be part of the voice. I need you. I need you to speak. At 70 years old, with never having had a crime in my life, they created a fake crime. They put me in front of a jury. My attorney said they have fixed this case. The fix is in, was the exact words he used. And I watched this jury hear jury instructions that had been manipulated by the judge and the DA. The jury had no choice. With fake jury instructions, I was convicted of 2 felonies at 70 years old in the middle of my election because I wanted to free people. I wanted to free people from the juvenile court system, from the corruption that was going on in the courts. And my first heart was with the kids. Because if we don't save our children, we have nothing left. So this was to save our children. And then, when they were unable to put me in jail, 4 days later, after they were unable to jail me, the same judge created a second fake crime. And that time they jailed me again. Only that time, I took my representation on myself. As an attorney, I'm no joke, okay? For 30 years.
Woo! Yeah! You heard what she said. She said she ain't no joke.
I had been to the Court of Appeals over 40 times. I had been to the Tennessee Supreme Court. I had changed the law through the Tennessee Supreme Court twice. I had filed multiple civil rights actions for parents. I have two significant opinions in the Sixth Circuit Court to protect families and children. I am the only attorney in Tennessee who represented children against their parents for civil damages when these children were abused, and we got a $3 million judgment and collected on it for children who were really abused. So I am no joke when it comes to walking in a courtroom, having boxes behind me, having file folders and exhibits and witnesses, and ready to go forward. I've been in this courthouse before. I had a case with Judge Gay, and he denied the right to give jury instructions on self-defense. Okay. He denied the right to give jury instructions on self-defense. I took it to the Court of Appeals. It was so bad that even the Attorney General wrote a brief that said, we agree. The judge screwed up. Now, we have to fix the system. And when you talk about accountability, and I'm going to close with this because I know other people want their voices to be heard. We cannot stand here and say they need to be held accountable, because you know what? Those accountability agencies are all in the game. They're all in the game. Board of Judicial Conduct, who heads it? Who runs it? The Board of Professional Responsibility, who runs it? They call out the attorneys that they don't want to deal with, and that's what they've done to me. They have silenced my voice when I took 8 families to the Williamson County Commission in 2018 to talk about the corruption in the Williamson County Juvenile Court, and they silenced me for that. They sanctioned me for that. They suspended me for that because I was there with them. I stood behind them. I held up a picture of their child for the Williamson County Commission, and they sat there and they said, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do. And they said these stories were horrible. I have been to Washington, D.C. I've taken families to Washington, D.C. to sit in the offices of congressmen and told horrid, wretched stories about children being stolen, children being abused in foster care, children being separated from their families. And they look at me and gasp. And they say, there is nothing we can do about it. This can no longer be the message. We are the ones who can do something about it. You and you and you and you. You have got to stand with those who stand up. I just beg of you, weekly, if you just give 2 or 3 hours of your week to this cause, we will make a change. I bless you all for being here today. I bless you for having voices. Thank you for being here. I want more of you to speak out. Tell your story.
Yes.
Let's make the change. Let's be the change. Thank you, and God bless you.
Yeah!
We are here today united. Powers in numbers. Power in numbers. Since we began this movement, since we began sharing Buck's story, Thomas Dillard's story, and many others, so many of you have come forward, and the message has been the same. I am afraid. I am afraid of retaliation. I have not spoken out. I have held this in for all of these years. I'm in therapy. I have lost my loved ones to police brutality. I have lost my loved ones to the system, to the corrupt Sumner County system. And today we we are breaking our silence. Today we are saying enough is enough, and we demand political and police reform. As Connie As Connie just said, you have the power. We have the power. We have the power to speak up and say, enough is enough. We're breaking our silence. We are demanding police reform. We are demanding judicial reform. And that starts with talking to our lawmakers about creating laws that will protect us. We're the ones that pay them the tax dollars, not the other way around. We need to tell them today, we are demanding laws. We are demanding oversight committees for these judges. As Connie explained to you all of these thousands of complaints that are filed against judges to do whatever the heck they want to do because there is no accountability. No accountability at all. No transparency and no accountability. Some of these judges in this courthouse, Judge Gay says, this is my sandbox on record. Judge Gay says, this is my sandbox, you're just playing in it. He's very transparent. He does not have to operate under the scope of the law. You know why? Because he thinks he has judicial immunity. And he has, because they have allowed him to get away with this foolishness. They have allowed him to not operate under the scope of the law. Today that changes. Today we demand him to be impeached. Today we demand an oversight committee that oversees these judiciary boards, that oversees the Board of Professional Responsibility. Just like a grand jury. What happens in a grand jury? We are the grand jury. That is what we demand. We the people, we need transparency. People say, reporters have said to me, why have I not seen any of these thousands of complaints filed against these judges? And I said, you won't, because they're not open to the public. We demand that today. We demand these complaints to be open to the public. We demand, under the act of us being able to see, if many of you know what this is, us being able to request body cam footage. Why can't we go request the body cam footage to get what we need? Why in all of these cases where police brutally assault civilians with no accountability, why can't we see the body cam footage? Where is the body cam footage? What are you hiding? Under the Open Records Request Act, we have the opportunity and the right to see that footage. It's not being shared. We demand that we pass laws to enforce these agencies to share this body cam footage, to hold these judges accountable. We demand police reform. We demand criminal justice reform. We demand political and police reform here today. We are breaking our silence. You voices who are so scared to speak out, you now know your power in numbers. See, all of us coming in here today, if there's judges that have come out, that have spoken out against corruption, against police and judicial corruption, there's thousands of more victims of the system that are not spoken out. You do not have to be afraid anymore. That is our message to you today. Enough is enough, and you do not have to be afraid anymore. We are power in numbers, and we're going to stand here with you. I am standing here with you today in honor of all of these victims of this corrupt Sumner County system. We are all standing here with you today. Please come forward. Please continue to share your stories with us. I will make sure that your voices are heard. I will make sure there is accountability. I will make sure you get justice. I will make sure that lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit is filed until this right here, this corrupt operation is bankrupt.
Yeah.
Come on, tell your story. We want to hear it.
Don't cry, don't worry about it.
My husband has been here for 3.5 years, waiting for a trial, waiting for the attorneys. One attorney brought him here when his court first opened and said, I brought you here to look at the new courthouse. This is my husband off. Judge Gay is trying to give my husband 29 years at 100%. He's a husband. He's a father. He suffers from mental illness, and they don't want to see that. They gave me piece of shit power attorney papers. They're at the jail. No one is not going to stand up in the courts, telling me I have no say-so when it comes to my husband. Back in September, they found my husband hanging, and they saved him in time. There's been many deaths in here. There's been many overdoses in here, and they don't do nothing. You know what the judge told me? There's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. And he told my husband he wants another attorney the next time he has to do himself. He won't get another attorney. I am tired of the way he gets treated in there. For his medication that I begged for months and months and months. It cost me $10 a month on his books. If I don't have it on there, he's not getting his medication. The system is corrupt. The stuff that goes in on there. The way they treat these people are human beings. Yes, they made a mistake. Some of them are mentally ill. A lot of them are. They just get shoved under the rug. It's time that we stand up and speak up. My husband deserves a chance. So does other people's. And what about the lives that are ended in there? They don't have a voice no more. We need to be their voices. This is not right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You want to speak?
Come on. You can do it. Yeah, tell your story. Come on. Come on. Yes, come on.
Take the mic, Stormy. Take the mic.
All my husband did was try to look into the police corruption, and he has been retaliated against, and now he sits in Sumner County Jail, and we just wait. It's been going on for several years, and again, there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to sit there and endure it.
Oh my God.
I'm going to piggyback off of what she said about her husband. Let's go down this rabbit hole for a minute. So you have a gentleman who experiences police corruption. And as a city alderman, he feels that it is his duty to speak out about it. He runs for mayor and says, I am going to be part of the change that I want to see in my community. They blackballed him for running for mayor. They forced him to take his name off of the ballot illegally, may I add.
Yep.
And the police have retaliated against him. They always think they're a step ahead, but see, this gentleman is a little bit smarter than the little old boys that go through the academy. And he said, you know what? I'm going to work with some informants inside the police department that think it's corrupt as well. And he did. And through their bravery, he was able to get a lot of information downloaded on iCloud and data files. So what did they do? They had to stop him, right? They had to stop him from releasing this evidence to you all, to the public, to the media.
Yep.
They arrested him. That's the game, right? They retaliated. They arrested him. They continued to arrest him. They continued to arrest him. They brought the SWAT team to his house to intimidate him, threw smoke bombs in his home, trashed his home, and took him to jail for evading arrest when he was asleep in the bed. Make that make sense. While he was in jail, they got a warrant for his arrest. Another warrant to search his house, and then another warrant to arrest him at some point, which is a violation of the bond conditions. When they got the search warrant, does anybody want to guess what the search warrant was for?
No, what?
Electronic devices, iCloud, data files.
Of course.
Now, let me just say, this gentleman was one step ahead of the good old boys club going through that little academy. Of course he had those things backed up. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God.
Praise God.
He had those things backed up, right? And I don't think they'll be able to find him. So, what did they do? What did they do? They arrest him again for violation of bond conditions. He is in jail now. This is what this young lady, this wife, this mother is speaking on. They're retaliating against him. They're making an example out of him. Let me just tell you what happened when the SWAT team went into his house. They paraded him down the street in his pajamas for blocks and put him in a police car. Why did they do that? Because they needed to make an example. They needed to make sure that you all don't upset the establishment and expose their corruption. They needed to keep him silent. You know what he said to me when he called me? He said they wanted to kill me.
Absolutely.
They wanted to kill me. I stayed silent while I was going through the arrest, or I was going through the booking process, but when I get out, I'm not going to be silent. And he doesn't have to be silent. He has all the evidence on his iCloud that they didn't take to back it up. But he's sitting in there now. He's sitting in there now waiting for his case to be bound over to the grand jury on an evading arrest and stalking a police officer. But we all know that's the other way around, right? We all know that. Now let's talk about Young Buck. We're here today to free Young Buck. Demand do we free Young Buck?
Free Young Buck.
Free Young Buck.
Free Thomas Dillard. Free Young Buck. Let's talk about black man, as an entertainer, as a thug. That's what they depict him as. But we all know the thugs are who? Corrupt, blue line badge thugs. Those are the corrupt ones. Those are the thugs. Not all of them. There's some good police officers in there. You know what they have to do? They have to look the other way. Why? Because they're scared to be fired. They're scared to be arrested. They're scared for drugs to be planted in their cars, like these other attorneys who tried to file civil rights lawsuits up here in this great world of Sumner County. That's what they're scared of. So they stay silent. Those good ones in there stay silent, but they talk to some people on the side. They have sidebar conversations. They have footage that has been released. We know what's really going on in there. But those corrupt blue line badge thugs, they depict you as thugs because you were born with a different skin color as them. Because they think they can outsmart you. They're bullies. That's what they do. They bully you. And Young Buck's case, like many, 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 many others, he has been bullied by the system. He was actually a victim. If you know his story, you know he was a victim of domestic violence. He was the sole provider in a relationship, and when he chose to leave that relationship, the young lady, if you want to call her that, discharged a firearm in an open community. What if, right here in Sumner County, what if your kids had been out there? What if she would have hit one of them? She unloaded a clip in an effort to end his life. Her charges were later dismissed, and subsequently, he was charged with her gun. The problem with that, though, is this young lady, if you want to call her that, admitted upon initial interrogation, and in the initial report to the police officer, she said, I retrieved my gun from the safe that's in my name, and I discharged the firearm. He has never had access to my gun. That's what she said upon initial interrogation. But we know how that works, those backdoor deals in exchange for testimony, and she was facing a lot of time here in Sumner County. Subsequently, her charges were dropped, and he was charged with her gun with absolutely no fingerprints on it. Has been on bond for 5 years, fighting his case, waiting to go to trial for 5 years. While he's on bond for 5 years, he has to report to a bond supervision department with an ankle monitor. He's been on an ankle monitor this entire time. As we know, cases like this have made many, many, many people physically sick. Buck is one of those people who was physically sick. So sick, in fact, that he was admitted into the hospital and under doctor's care. And he was not able to go report to see his probation officer. Now, I would like to pause and say again, this young man has not been convicted. He's still going to trial where he will win because the facts are in his favor, the evidence and lies, and the jury will see that. But in the meantime, he's on bond. He's on an ankle monitor and has to report weekly. He has to pay, what, $400 almost for his ankle monitor? $400 for a racket ankle monitor a month.
Yep.
While he's on bond and has to report. Now, do they care that he's sick? Do they care that he's in the hospital? No, they don't care. They provide him. They're all corrupt. Yes, amen, they're all corrupt.
Tell your story.
Come speak. It is corrupt. Yep.
Hey, we got one want to speak right
Okay,
here.
I'm gonna bring one up. Okay, bring him up. Okay, I got it. While he's on bond, he fails to report because he's under a doctor's care in the hospital. His attorney provides the documentation to the court, to his probation department. He shouldn't be on probation because he hasn't been convicted. I'm confused how they violate someone's probation who has not been convicted of a charge. But you know what they do? Whatever the hell they want to do, because there is no accountability. There is no transparency and there's no accountability, so they do what they want to do. They don't care about working under the scope of the law. They don't have to. They get away with it. Just like in Young Buck and many, many hundreds of other people that have come forward and thousands that are going to come forward, they've done whatever they wanted to do with no accountability, without operating under the scope of the law. That changes today. Okay, hold on. Young Buck is in jail because they revoked his bond. They attempted to revoke his bond, but they knew that they couldn't do that under the scope of the law, so they held him in contempt of court and gave him 30 days and said at the end of that 30 days they would give him a bond. And we're hopeful for that. Buck is in good spirits. Buck is going to continue to be in good spirits. He is not going to let this system break him. He is going to come out of jail in 2 weeks, and we're going to go to trial. And then he's going to file a federal lawsuit that will bankrupt this corrupt operation right here. You talk about some RICO, this is RICO right here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Okay, this is RICO right here.
Yeah, free young buck. I've been around in Gallatin. I've been around here for a while, and I know how the system is. They'll take your charge and spin it around.
Yeah.
My nephew, he died in this jail about a year ago, and they never came to my mom's house and did nothing about it. Never said they're sorry or nothing. They just let him die in jail, choked to death. But they never said it. But free young buck, because you never know what might happen to him. That's how they work up in that jail. I'm serious about that.
Yep.
I just want y'all to pray for my family, with the right family, but it's bad up in this jail.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
for that.
While we've been speaking to young Buck while he's in this jail, he's notified us that there have been many overdoses. And for someone who's going through something like this as Buck, and I say, you know what, Buck, you're in really good spirits. You sound really good in there. I'm so grateful. He says, I know I'm in here for a reason. I know I'm in here to meet all of these people that are going through all of these
Absolutely.
things. All of these people that have died in these jails and they've swept it under the rug. I know I'm in here to be that voice. And when I get out, I'm not going to leave them behind. I'm going to be that voice. Free young Buck.
Free young buck.
Many of you may know what we do for a living behind the backstory. It's crazy how what we do for a living, we get arrested as well. Here, not too long ago, me and my son was arrested for doing our job, something that the police department don't want to do. They couldn't find a criminal if he was trapped in a box. So we have to do that. And the bad part about it is I have the body camera footage of the day and every officer that was on that scene that day. I have it. And it can clearly state, when I asked for my attorney, the cop threatened to lock me up if I called my attorney. So then he come back to continue to question me, which is illegal, then turned around and locks me up. And the reason he locked me up was because he said I filed a false report. I didn't file anything. It's not against the law to lie to the police officer, but the thing about it is, when I asked for my attorney, you should have no longer came back to me and talked to me. But here's the kicker. The kicker is, on body camera footage, you hear the Pacific officer, Adams, call the general, aka Ray Whitley, on the phone, and you hear the conversation that them two have. And it blows my mind that he is backing this crap.
Yep.
And then, so they take me to jail. Actually, they take me to, was it Portland Police Department? They leave me in handcuffs for 3 hours. Because this officer, Lester, which was fired from Sumner County Sheriff's Department, goes to Portland. And the reason he got a job in Portland is because his uncle happens to be the assistant mayor of Portland. Everybody knows that. Now, on top of this, 5 days go by. They follow me home. They don't come to my house. They follow me home without a warrant, without any dispatch log showing that they were supposed to be at my home.
They went over the county line.
Came to my house looking for my son that was standing right next to me for the 4 hours that they were standing there interrogating me. Now, mind you, the other guys that were involved in this